If you're a landlord, you know managing rentals on pen and paper can be a major headache. That's why there's RentReady. RentReady is a smarter, simpler way to collect rent automatically, screen tenants, track expenses, and keep up with tenants all in one place, so you can make time for what matters most. Try RentReady today, risk-free, starting at just $5 a month at rentredi.com. That's RENTREDI.com.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Before we jump in, let me set the stage for today's episode. This isn't a surface level conversation. We're getting into real world insights, what actually works, what doesn't, and how to apply what you hear today in a practical way, whether you're building a business, a brand, or your next opportunity. And I want you to stay with me until the very end, because I'm offering a free bonus specifically for listeners who finish the episode. Something that can help you skip the line and move faster if being on this show is something you've been thinking about. All right, let's get into today's conversation. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm delighted to welcome our next guest, Terri Maxwell. She's from Dallas. She's got a fantastic story. She has built, grown, sold businesses. She shares her message through inspirational speaking and writing. I'm really happy to have her on the show to share her knowledge and wisdom to the audience. Terri, welcome.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Briefly introduce yourself to the audience, and I'm excited about the fireside.
Terri Maxwell. I've been growing companies for a long time. I'm over 60 now, so I've been doing this for a long time. Early 2008, I sold my last business and I started over with this crazy idea. There has to be a way to use my business growth skills to do good in the world. And that's when I set up Share on Purpose, which is like a purposeful Shark Tank, and do nothing but grow and teach and help other founders that are trying to do good in the world, help them grow their good.
You've had a number of business successes. What are you doing these days and how are you helping clients?
One of our investments is a zero waste makeup and skincare line called YourIzzy. And it's absolutely amazing. I spend a lot of time helping them grow. And I feel like, wow, every time I keep somebody from using some piece of plastic, that I'm making the world better. And then I also spend a lot of my time in one of our companies called ShiftCo, which trains and coaches conscious entrepreneurs on how to grow their business. I do speaking and podcasting and try to share the message of mindset as it relates to money, and that you can do good and make money. I think most people think it's or. I can either do good or I can make money. And I just don't believe it. I believe that you can do both. And so I try to share that message with people like your audience.
What is the number one mindset or way of thinking that is holding people back these days?
I think that most people think that failure is a bad thing. And I really believe that for everything that I do that worked, there's dozens and dozens of things that I did that didn't. So to me, failure is just information. It's feedback. And that's how I use it. And I'm grateful for the feedback because it lets me know that something's not right. I think that's the biggest thing that stops people from starting something that's meaningful, is they're afraid they're going to fail. And I think it's the thing that causes most people to quit too early, is they think the failure means they've done something wrong, but in reality, it's just feedback.
You've had a number of businesses. A lot of them are based on really innovative business models. What I gather is purpose is a huge core value. Why do you take this approach and why does it matter?
I wish I had a better answer other than just the truth. I had a marketing consulting firm from 2002 to 2008. And I woke up in February of 2008 and realized that although we had a very successful company, I had 40 consultants working for us, I was making tons of money, I was growing things that didn't matter. And I said, I can't pivot fast enough. I knew there was a market correction coming. So I got out, sold it in pieces, and started over and just said, I'm only going to do things that matter. And that was really the genesis of Share on Purpose.
For the audience, what is Share on Purpose? What does it do? How does it help people?
We have a speculator fund. It's a family office that invests in things like YourIzzy. And then we have what we call the cultivator, where we create our own businesses that serve that same ecosystem. And we've got 2 marketing companies. We've got leadership, personal development. We've got ShiftCo. That idea of building something that perpetuates, that does good, is really where I'm focused. It will turn into a trust that our employees will inherit, and then they'll continue to use the tools and the methods to grow things that matter.
New Year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. So now get 2 snack wraps, plus fries, and a medium soft drink for just $8.
For limited time only, prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
Every sip of Coca-Cola brings you closer to the excitement of the FIFA World Cup 26. Because nothing compares to the joy. So grab a Coke and drink in the FIFA World Cup 26. No purchase necessary. 13 plus in 50 U.S. states and D.C. with a web-enabled device. Ends March 1st with 8 entry periods. Rules at cokeurl.com/soccerrules.
Terry's also mentioned ShiftCo. She's also got Ignite on Purpose and Succeed on Purpose. And she's authored Succeed on Purpose. This will be in the show notes. What I love is your principles from a bird's eye view. You talk about playing to win and you get what you focus on. Can you expand upon that for the audience?
I'll do the you get what you focus on because they're tied together. And I have to tell a story because it really illustrates this. I grew up with very abusive parents. We were very poor. And my grandfather was like this little angel in my life. And I would always go to him with these problems. And so this one scenario, I was a basketball player. The first half, we were just killing it. And then the second half, I was the point guard. So I was distributing the ball. The second half, the opposing coach called for what's called a trap, where you trap them at half court. And I lost the ball, they scored, and I got really mad, and I ran to the exact same spot again, lost the ball again. 6 times I ran to the exact same spot, lost the ball. Coach takes me out. I'm furious, storm out of the gym, mad, disgruntled teenager. And I go to my grandpa and complaining, and he started rubbing his little goatee, and he said, "Terry, you get what you focus on." And I was like, "What? I didn't do anything wrong. It's the coach's fault." And then he said the most profound thing. And he said, "The first half, when you were winning, what were you focused on?" And I was like, "Scoring." And he said, "In the second half, what were you focused on?" And I was like, "The defender." And he's, "Yeah, you get what you focus on." And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Most of the time, we're focused on what's not working. And if you can take your eye off of what's not working, what you don't like, and shift over to what is working or what it is you want to create, you can get through almost anything. And so I used that phrase. It became the battle cry of my life. And every success that I have, I take it back to that one insight that if you just focus on where you're going, take your eye off of what's not working, take your eye off what's frustrating you, take your eye off of the failure, and put it on where you're going, you can get through anything.
Wow. It's so hard in today's because we're always focused on what we're missing or what we're lacking. When you actually put into practice and apply what you just said, it's a frame shift. In this day and age, I hate to say, a lot of people view corporations and companies and government as against them. Talk about 3 strategies to grow your impact.
It starts first with you get what you focus on. I don't always like the direction we're going as a country. I don't always agree with the things that are out there, but I don't focus on that. What I do is focus on the way that I want it to be. That's number 1, is focus on the way that you want it to be. Number 2 is to grow your impact, you have to grow your business, your podcast, whatever that is. The way to do that is not getting people to buy. It's really growing awareness and serving people until they're ready to buy. So that's number 2, is serve first rather than sell. And then number 3 is the quality and the value that you provide. Value wins. The third strategy is to provide more value. And we've really learned that the legal structure of ShiftCo is set up as a public benefit corporation, and it forces us to look at the value that we're providing. Sometimes that means I have to slow down my growth, which I don't like to do because I love to grow things. Sometimes I have to slow down my growth to really make it so that I'm adding value. And when I'm adding value, my clients will bring me more clients. So it's you get what you focus on. Then number 2 has to do with that mindset shift of awareness is really the key. Number 3 is value wins, and you need to provide more value. When you provide more value, your clients will bring you more clients.
I heard this great story where professional race car drivers, when they start to spin or lose control, they say to focus on where you want to go as opposed to preventing the spin. Quick pause here, because if this conversation is resonating with you, you'll want to stay until the very end. At the end of this episode, I'm giving listeners who finish priority access and the ability to skip the line if being a guest on this show is something you've been considering right now. No action needed. I'll share exactly how it works at the end of the episode. All right, let's get back to the conversation. So you turn the steering wheel to where you want it to go to avoid that. It ties back to what you were just saying. You have a trademark success switch and game-changing research to rewire your brain.
This is one of my favorite things to talk about. Most of the stories and the negative patterns are stuck in the amygdala. And the amygdala replays these things again and again in our brain is the easiest way to think about it. What I learned is develop this 3-step process to get the amygdala to go into pause, where it's not running the negative failure story, whatever it is. And then breathe and activate the prefrontal cortex and the parasympathetic nervous system in such a way that you put dopamine and serotonin, those hormones, into your bloodstream. Now you're feeling better. And then the 3rd step is to claim the new empowering belief. But it starts first, you use the prompt, the truth is I feel whatever comes up. So I might say the truth is I feel tired, and then pause. And what will happen, the amygdala is the dumb part of the brain, and it's easy to program. It will start to downshift, and it will downshift and downshift. Wait about 20, 30 seconds. 4 deep breaths into your nose and out of your mouth. Parasympathetic nervous system gets turned on by the prefrontal cortex. Now, all of a sudden, I'm feeling better. And all of those hormones, dopamine and serotonin, are going into my bloodstream. Then the C, A, B, C, the C stands for claim a new belief. So I will say, I have the power to create what I want. I do that once in the morning, once throughout the day. Before I go to bed, I use the success switch. What it does is it turns off the amygdala, the part of my brain that where the negative doubts and fears are located, those old stories. It turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, and then all of a sudden it regulates my brain. And now I'm really in the present moment. I can claim a new belief. That's what I call the success switch.
It's amazing how these techniques can control your focus and your physiology and take control of the meaning. You can get what you focus on. You've developed a proven 3-step process designed to reduce fear, uncertainty, and doubt. How do you do that?
We use the success switch first. It's the basis of all of our personal development methodologies. The other 3 steps to get rid of FUD after the success switch is taking the tip of it off. Step number 2 is to move into the present. This is really cool. It's a party trick for anybody that's listening. I would encourage you to do this. We usually point to the front, point to the past, point to the future. The ego thinks the future is in front of us and the past is behind us. That's not really how time works. To reorient and say, I'm standing on the past. It is the rock on which I stand. And now all of a sudden I feel the past underneath me, which totally feels different. And then the future is above me. These goals, these things that I want, they're really here. Now I move totally into this present state. From that, the next step is, what do I really want? I've done my success switch. I've reset the amygdala. I'm really in the present. I feel my past underneath me. What do I really want? 4 is to move into something that I learned from Tony Robbins, and that is to move into a state of certainty. And when you're in a state of certainty, you believe you can do anything. Those are the 3 steps to overcome FUD, and they start with the success switch, and then you follow those next 3 steps.
I'm sure the audience will get a lot of benefit from implementing Terri's strategies and tactics. How do you build a conscious business model? Why is that model so important today?
A conscious business is based on a model of value first, that value wins. Then B, marketing strategy that is authentic, that grows your business not because you're trying to sell things, but because you're trying to do the service. It ties together those things. Third is if you get those two pieces right, where it's based on value, which includes everything from pricing to the product strategy that you have, and then you get the demand generation, then it's really about scaling authentically, having the team and resources and technology to make it seamless. When companies put those three things together with the goal of authenticity and value, that becomes a conscious business model. I believe that is the future of conscious business models will rule.
You mentioned Tony Robbins. He's got the platinum. You've had multiple exits, including a NASDAQ IPO. A lot of people like the comparison. They say, oh, my friend or colleague, he was a founder. He started from nothing and then he raised VC and he took a company public. Is the goal to actually take the company public, or what is that? A lot of people, they beat themselves up because they're not billionaires. How do you address this common comparison trap and fear among founders?
It's based on something called the hedonic principle. We're wired to want things, and then when we get them, we don't want them anymore. I think of it a little different. We're wired to become more. I think we've been taught to believe that's about wanting more. I really believe that we grow where we want to be. We don't get where we want to be, that we have to become the leader. We have to become the person we really are meant to be to fulfill our potential. So that's my belief on that. And that's how I try to get people off of that hedonic treadmill, is by helping them understand that pull towards more is really your soul wanting to become more. It's not that you want more. It's just that the way marketing has been taught for the last 50 years, the way that it's been demonstrated, it makes us think we should want that next device, when in reality, it's really our soul that just wants to become more. That's what I help people focus on.
How can people connect with you and learn more about how you create, grow, and scale your businesses, as well as look into your speaking and books?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very easy to find. I'm very visible there. Then Succeed on Purpose. We've got really cool tools that will help people answer these questions for themselves. There's not going to be any nurture sequence to try to get you to buy or any of that crazy stuff. I can't stand that. And then for ShiftCo, we do lots and lots of free training every single month. There's also tools on that website. We're a big believer in serving people. If they ever want to buy from us, we make it easy to reach out. There's not any pushiness to it. I would say use the tools. You'll be blown away that our free stuff is better than most paid. Use the tools, use the training, serve yourself. If I can ever help you in any way, just let me know.
Excellent. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing a very inspirational story on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Congratulations on your success and the work that you're doing. It really does matter.
Thank you. If you stayed until the very end, congratulations. You've earned the freebie. As promised, here it is. Email chris@drchrislewmdphd.com. You'll find it in the show notes, and simply put podcast freebie. A member of our team will reach out to you about being a guest on the show. If you found value in today's conversation, please take a moment to rate the show 5 stars and follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps more people discover the conversations we're having here. To be a premium guest on the show, book a spot or join our podcast community. You'll find the links in the show notes below. And if you're looking for more personal guidance, you can book one-on-one coaching call with me. Our books, products, and courses are linked in the show notes. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Tap the banner or visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.